We cannot change the circumstances of our lives, but we can go back in time and we can literally change our feelings, our thoughts, our perspective, and it will go boom, 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 boom. All of the times that happens, it corrects, and all of the sudden, you just like, it's just gone. It doesn't matter. You guys, I had quite a bit of sexual abuse as a child and as a teenager. And it devastated me, and it really got in the way of my marriage, go figure. And when I went in, I actually used EFT, tapping, if anybody knows anything about that. It was mind-blowing that I could be in so much pain and then it's just gone. Like I remembered it, it just didn't matter. We have to be strong enough to save ourselves. And as long as we're pointing the finger at mom or dad or the abuser or the sister or the anybody that's hurt us, we're not going to move forward until we say, okay, Ruthie, what were you thinking when you were 6 years old and this happened? How can I help you? How can I help you see it more clearly? What if, do you remember I love Mr. Rogers. Talked about in any big traumatic thing that's happening in our country, he would go back to what his mom always said, look for the helpers.
Yeah.
So what I find is very interesting. We can go back to a sensitizing event memory, but if we broaden our perspective in that moment, in that time in our life, we can always find the right answers, the way we could have thought about it, the person that was showing us the love, the person that was telling us we were enough. And we decided to look at that broken arm instead of all of the good. But as adults, we can decide to look at the good and implement that instead.
You have shared some amazing insights for us. I did want to share just quickly before we say goodbye, a post that I found on your page, the Quantum Filled Trips. You said, I remember very vividly hoping and praying that someone would save me from the painful feelings and experiences in my childhood, young adulthood, and even a number of years into adulthood. I didn't feel like it was my fault. My depression, my anxiety, the circumstances that I felt were valid reasons for feeling the way I did. If I had the resources, I would have entered into a treatment facility where I felt like someone could fix me. I wanted someone to bail me out. I did see therapists, and you mentioned this. I read hundreds of self-help and psychology books. I went to seminars. I hired coaches. I eventually found my way to hypnotherapy. But somewhere along the line, I realized it was me. I had the power and strength to save me. I asked for help and advice and studied options that might help. Some did and some didn't. I made mistakes. There were times when I just stayed in bed and tried and prayed for someone to save me again, for God to take me home. Then I would start all over again. I practiced being happy before I was. I celebrated forward movement when I noticed it. I allowed myself to feel sad, angry, frustrated, and anything else, but at a time when I could keep it away from my family, like the shower or car. Then, little by little, the scales began to shift. Instead of feeling depressed or overwhelmed, or it's not fair the majority of the time, it shifted to joy and acceptance, grace and resilience most of the time. It was me that did it. Yes, I had help, but I sought it out. I decided I wanted to change. I was my own older and wiser rock of a person to carry me forward. For my religious friends, I know you're thinking only Christ can save, and you may be right. Still, he requires us to do the work of knocking, or of asking, of doing all we can, and then allowing God's healing power to take effect. So, my friend, if you're at rock bottom or the end of your rope, or just not where you want to be, and you wish someone could just give you a handout and save you, start with the one in the mirror. I just love that. It's so inspiring that we have all of these things that are holding us back, And we don't have to stay here. We don't have to stay in that feeling of hopelessness or helplessness, because God created us to be this way, to be able to make it through these things. So thank you. I really appreciate everything you've taught today. And if anyone has any questions, I didn't see any chats. I didn't see any questions in the Facebook, but I will forward them to you if anything pops up.
Absolutely.
And yeah, and then we'll stay in touch. Thank you, Ruthie.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, you guys.
You guys have a beautiful day.
You guys too. Bye.